Come on in, come on in, come on in. It's Dr. Barbara Swinney. Stay with me in the yellow, guys. Get over here in the yellow. Stay. Giving everybody just a little time to get in here. I'm Dr. Barbara Swinney. I am your identity transformation strategist, founder and CEO of Deeper Women Lead Global. I help women in leadership heal, lead, and leverage their stories for legacy. Alexa, turn down to 3. Stay with me in the yellow. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I know y'all are at the door. Come on in. Like and share this live. We're live on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Invite everybody you know to get in here because Dr. Swinney's taking you to school today. We're going back to school. Stay with me in the... Come on in, come on in, come on in. We're getting ready to get started. This is day 9 of our 15-day series of Heal, Lead, and Leverage. We're talking about identity work. We're talking about reclaiming the woman behind the story. Stay with me. We've talked about living from our subconscious mind, making sure we're using our conscious mind to change our subconscious mind so we can change the behavior that we are demonstrating in our bodies. So come on in, get everybody in here. Today, we're talking about what level are you living from? Yes, you're living life, but from what level? Alexa off. You're living life, but from what level? I'm Dr. Barbara Swinney. I'm a life and leadership coach and coach trainer. I'm the founder and CEO of Deeper Women Lead Global. I help women in leadership heal, lead, and leverage their stories so they can build legacy, so they can build a platform, so they can build a business, write a book, so that you can leave a footprint. I know that there are a lot of women out there who are not living their fullest potential. You feel stuck. You feel like I've got to do what I've always done, but Dr. Swinney's here to let you know that you can do something different. Hey, Sherry, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, hey, hey. I hope you're feeling better. Thank you so much for coming in. We are going to get started. This is day 9, Sherry. This is day 9 of us going live. This is day 9 of me going live on TikTok for the first time. So I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited about the transformation that people have been getting over the past few nights. What's been coming up a lot for people is fear and how to move beyond the fear. So we've talked about that. We've talked about living from your identity, letting you know that you're not stuck. You're just living from the wrong version of yourself. You're attached to the wrong story about yourself. Hello, Michael Anderson. Thank you so much for coming in. Michael, please like and share this live. Come on in and have a seat. We're going to get started. We were just giving people a little time to get in, and then we're going to get started. We're live on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Deeper with Dr. B. That's who I am on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming in. Listen, if you're in here on TikTok, make sure you're going up to the top of the screen and getting your daily heart me. Also, follow me at Dr. Barbara Swinney on all of the major social media platforms. We're going to jump in tonight. We've been talking about identity and making sure we are fully connected to who we are so we can stand in the full authority of who we are. Some of us have been living way too small, way too silent, and it's time for us to break the silence. And identity is the way you crack the code. And that's what we're going to continue to work on tonight. So I'll be looking across because I'm working from multiple platforms. And I have multiple monitors up here. So if I'm not facing you directly, it's not that I'm not paying attention to you. It is that I'm paying attention to all of you. So thank you so much for coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I see another one, of a friend of a student in here. I did say that I'm a life and leadership coach and coach trainer, founder and CEO of Deeper Women League Global. I'm also a retired principal at City View Elementary School. Some of my students have been popping in here. So shout out to City View Elementary School. I'm super excited about what Dr. Swinney is doing now and what I was able to accomplish along with the students and staff there. Shout out to everybody. Share this live out, guys. We're going to be talking about yes, you're living, but from what level are you living? I'm going to turn my lights down. I think I'm overexposed over here on one of these. Okay, so I'm going to jump in. How many of you have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? If you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I know I'm taking you back probably to about the 8th grade. If you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, type a 1 in the chat. Type a 1 in the chat. We're going to school today. Yes, I have my old school chart paper because AI is not going to take me out. Hi, Diana. Welcome in. Like and share this live. Get everybody in here. You guys need this information. Like and share this live. I want to give a shout out to Diana, who's already signed up for the 3-day live intensive. The 3-day live intensive will be happening next week, guys, Tuesday, the 14th, 15th, and 16th. 3 power-packed nights of the science of identity. What is your story and how you're living it out? And then how do you begin to leverage that story? You are going to want to sign up for that. Get registered at deeperwomenleagueglobal.org/events. deeperwomenleagueglobal.org/events. Go and register today. Shout out to Diane. I see she's in here and she has signed up along with, I don't think I see anybody else in here that signed up, but perhaps I can shout you out before we get to the end when I check the registrations. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're going to be talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I know you guys have seen this pyramid. I'm going to make sure you can see on TikTok, Facebook. Here's the thing about this life we're living. We're not just living life, but we live life in levels. And we don't quite understand that we're actually living life in levels. That's why the science of identity is so important. God has given us all of these tools, and the science really is just an explanation of the stuff that he's asking us to do in the Bible. It's the way we can engage on this natural side and understand what's happening on the natural side so we can partner with Holy Spirit and get the stuff done that we need to get done. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At the very bottom are your physiological needs. That means, thank you so much for the heart, Sherry. Thank you. That means that all of your physical needs are met. Basically, it's making sure you have food, shelter, you have a place to live, all of that. That's what the physiological safety is. Now, if you're not safe at either one of these areas, I feel like TikTok doesn't have a good view. Is that better? Better or worse? Y'all let me know. There it is. Okay. What really matters is what level are you living from? Because depending on where you're living from on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it changes how you think, it changes how you choose, it changes how you show up, and it even changes what you attract. So we want to make sure that we are healed at each of these levels so that we can get to the very top of the pyramid. So the very bottom of the pyramid is physiological safety. The second level is a need for safety. That means you need to feel like you're safe from harm, safe from wars, safe from crime. Just you're safe in your home, safe emotionally. The third row is love and belonging. Love and belonging. The fourth row is esteem. This is your accomplishments and how you feel about yourself and how you respect yourself and how others respect you. That's the esteem level. This top of the pyramid, that's the money level. This is the level of self-actualization. Everybody type in the chat 10%, 10%, 10% at the self-actualization level. Let me see, 10%. Hi, Brigitta. Yay, you made it. Listen, tell me if I'm saying your name right. Is it Brigitta or Brigetta? Brigetta Sims. She's also one of the registrants for our live series that we're not series, but our live intensive that we're going to do next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's the 14th, 15th, and 16th. Guys, you don't want to miss this. Make sure you go over to deeperwomenleagueglobal.org/events because we are going to be going deeper. We are going to be going deeper because we'll have a far more intimate environment, of course, than we have here live, but you're going to be able to have the space to learn about the science of identity, to learn why you do the things you do, and why no matter how much you've prayed or how many positive affirmations you've given yourself, you still have come to the end of yourself. You've gone as far as your looks, brilliance, and talents can take you, and you're trying to figure out what's next. I know that God didn't just send me here to entertain myself, but what else can I do besides what I've been doing for the last 20, 30 years? What else can I do besides what the system has dictated for me to do? 10%. So I asked everybody to put 10% in the chat because guess what? Only 10% of the 8 billion people on the planet reach self-actualization. Because here's what we try to do. We try to live at self-actualization. We try to live at the top of the pyramid. Yes, we show up at work in our suits, in our silk blouses, in our heels. We're trying to show up at the self-actualization mode without healing all of the other levels. If you don't heal all of the other levels, they're just going to sneak up on you when you try to walk in as a self-actualized leader, woman, person. So it's important that we heal at all of these levels, and that's what we're going to go through tonight. For your psychological needs, some of you are just surviving. This is where you're just trying to get through the day. This is, you got your food taken care of, your water, your sleep, your basic needs. But let's take it a little deeper. Some of us are still having or still living in the survival mode. Man, I got to get up and I got to go to work. And I got to try to be focused. And I got to try to look like I'm doing something if somebody walks in here. You're in survival mode. You're tired. You're overwhelmed. And you're always trying to just get through the day. How many of you wake up wanting to take a nap? I know that's how I used to be. Put a 1 in the chat if you wake up thinking about your nap. Put a 1 in the chat. Sometimes you wake up thinking about going to sleep because you're overwhelmed. Let me see the ones in the chat. If you wake up thinking about a nap. Yep, you're always just trying to make it through the day. And when you live here, you don't have time to think about purpose because you're thinking about your nap. You don't have time to think about what am I supposed to be doing beyond myself. You don't have time to think about who else can I influence outside of the people that I'm getting paid or charged to influence by the system that I'm in. When you are surviving at the physiological level because you're too tired to get to yourself, You're not living the expansive life that you need to live. So you have to make sure that you are physiologically safe, not just meaning you have a bed to sleep in at night, but that you're actually getting sleep and you're getting quality sleep so that you can make the good decisions. Because remember, this is just the first level. That's basic. It's just a given that you're going to get enough sleep. So for level two is a need for safety, security, stability, protection. This is where some of us get stuck. This is where some of us, we're not really just trying to grow. We're trying to feel safe. We're trying to feel safe in relationships. We're trying to feel safe financially. We're trying to feel safe emotionally. Instead of evolving, we are just looking for predictability, honey. I just need to know that the same thing is going to happen tomorrow that happened today. We're just looking for predictability. Thank you so much for liking and sharing the live. Make sure you're following me on all of the social media platforms at Dr. Barbara Swinney. We're just trying to make sure, again, we're tired, so we're just trying to hold it all together, waking up thinking about a nap. And then our need for safety, if you're a woman or man, a lot of us worry about our finances. We don't have financial security. That keeps us up at night. So our physiological level is not healed, and neither is our safety level. That's level 2. So instead of evolving or searching for ways to grow, we're just living, trying to make sure something is predictable, trying to make sure that I know what's going to happen next, trying to make sure that another shoe won't drop. And then at level 3 is relationship, community, and connection. This is our love and belonging. Now, we really get trapped up here, ladies. This is for love and belonging. This is where you start asking, do I even belong here? Do people accept me? Do people like me? Will they choose me? We start asking ourselves questions like that at the love and belonging level. Because, see, God created us to be together. So there is an innate need to belong. That's not the problem. The problem is recognizing how to belong, how to create community. Raise your hand. Type a 1 in the chat, not raise your hand. Type a 1 in the chat if you feel like community is important. Type a 1 in the chat if you feel like community is important. Hello, KK. Yes, thank you so much for joining. Unknown Kelsey, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you're liking and sharing the live. Get everybody in here. Most people think community and belonging are important. Yes, they are, because we were created to be together. If God didn't mean for us to be together, he would have just created you. He would have put one person here at a time. But he means for us to be together. Now, this is where a lot of women lose themselves. We have to be careful at the belonging, because we want to be accepted. We want to be a part of what's happening. So then here is where we start, instead of being ourselves, we start shaping into what other people want us to be. We start shaping into our roles. We start changing and shifting based on what other people need from us. So at this third level, love and belonging, we have to be very careful that our other needs are met so that we're not seeking this love and belonging from the wrong place. And when I say from the wrong place, I don't mean from the wrong group of people. I mean from the wrong place in your heart. Because if you're not secure and solid in who you are, you'll start to seek acceptance from somebody that you're not supposed to be. Oh, that was good. Type a 2 in the chat for that. That was good. If you're not secure in yourself, if you don't know who you are, you'll start reaching. I don't even remember what I said. That was good. If you don't know who you are, if you're not walking in the authority of who you are, you'll start to seek out things that are not aligned with you. That was not as powerful as the first thing I said, but hey, I said it. We're going to catch it on the replay. Thank you so much for coming in, Raven. Community is very important, but don't make it so important that you start to shapeshift based on what's needed in your community. The fourth one is self-esteem. This is your self-confidence. This is how you move in confidence. Now you move into confidence and recognition and achievement. This is where you start building self-respect. This is where you start building your confidence, creating your voice. I know for a long time I felt like I didn't have a voice. Even though I was in all of these positions, I still felt like I didn't have a voice. So when I started going through my deconstructing my identity, untying, detangling my identity from the job, the career, the marriage, I had to figure out where that came from. Where did I get that from? Where did at what point did I feel like I lost my voice? And for some of you who don't know my history, I'm the youngest of 10 children. When I traced it back to that, I never had to talk. There wasn't a whole lot I had to do because there was always somebody there to support me. There was always somebody there to do the thing or fill in the gap or step up and talk for Barbara. So it wasn't that, I thought I lost my voice in my marriage. It was just that I had never really learned to use my voice. So I wasn't talking. So I want you to start actively assessing those thoughts that pop into your head that speak to your self-esteem. I said this yesterday. It only takes 63 days for a thought to become cemented in your subconscious mind. 63 days. Think about how many negative things you say to yourself every day. 63 days for a thought to become a part of your subconscious mind. And remember, the body acts at the will of the subconscious mind. And 75 to 95% of our behavior is controlled by our subconscious mind. So think about all of the negative things you're saying to yourself each day, or all of the negative things you may hear, or something that was embedded in your subconscious, maybe when you were small or growing up, or even through your career, that's become cemented in your subconscious mind. All of that could impact your self-esteem. You not speaking up for yourself, you not advocating for yourself. And if you skip any of these three, and you're just showing up in rooms as if you're self-actualized, you are showing up on a shaky foundation. When you reach self-actualization, now this is where you become her. This is where you become that girl. This is where you find your it factor, because we all have the it factor. We all have it. We just don't know it. I made a video the other day saying a star doesn't know that she's a star. She's born a star. So she's just walking into the room in all of her little 5 points. And we're like, oh my gosh, do y'all see her shining? We are all the X factor. I need y'all to know that. We all have the X factor. But we have to go in and discover the X factor. Know what your own X factor is. That's what happens at the self-actualization level. Because we're not healed at levels 1 through 4, we have a lot of people faking self-actualization. They're doing what they think it looks like. They're doing what they've been told to do. But you can't fake self-actualization, because at some point, this loving and belonging, whatever level you haven't healed, is going to show up there with you and bring you back down to where you were last safe. Thank you so much for coming in, Mystique, the creator. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the follow. How many of y'all are picking up what I'm putting down? Type a 1 in the chat if you're with me. Type a 1 in the chat if you're with me. What is my doctorate in? I have a doctoral degree in educational leadership. I'm also a John Maxwell certified life and leadership coach, and I have been coaching for the past 15 years, about 15 years. Clinton Harmon, typing 1 in the chat. Okay, let's get back to this. If you haven't healed levels 1 through 4, physiological safety, physiological needs, need for safety, love, belonging, self-esteem, and then you're just trying to show up in the room as if you've got it all together. This is where most of us are. Only 10% of the over 8 billion people on the planet are truly self-actualized. Self-actualization doesn't happen through metamorphosis. Self-actualization is an intentional process. And at this level, you're no longer surviving. You've healed all of this. You're no longer surviving. You're creating. You're no longer asking for permission to show up. You have nothing to lose, nothing to prove, and nothing to hide at this self-actualization level, because you've taken the time to heal all of the other levels. Now you're on steady ground. Now you can walk in the authority of who you are. Somebody says, Mystique says, I haven't healed none of these. And guess what, Mystique? You're not alone. I missed all of this as a kid because it wasn't explained to us like this. We just thought, oh, physiological safety, we need to make sure we have a place to stay. We didn't learn it this way. We didn't know that this actually impacted our identity. We didn't know that there are levels to this. We didn't know this information. So they taught us what they knew, because many of the people that taught us weren't self-actualized. That is what all of this identity work is about. Most people want to live at the top, but they haven't healed at the bottom levels. This is why I'm providing context to this identity work. Your identity is everything. Where you're living your life from is everything. Somebody said, man, I didn't even have a place to stay. Where your physiological needs weren't met. If you didn't have a place to stay, it's hard to feel like you belong if everybody around you has a place to stay. If these needs are not met, it's going to be difficult for you to become a self-actualized leader, person. All right, let's bring it home. Your identity is shaped by the level you live on. How many of you know on this need for safety, if you don't have the money, you're going to make different decisions? People with a certain level of finance, we just make decisions differently. That's the thing that can hold us back. And even if you have money, perhaps you grew up without any, you're always thinking about the impact of me spending this or that. I can tell you about a time when I used to give a second thought to buying socks after I was successful. And that's not because I didn't grow up with anything, but that was because that was the condition that was established in my marriage. IK, do you mean receiving counseling or counseling as a profession? IK says, what is your opinion on counseling? Do you mean receiving? If you're talking about receiving counseling, oh, the field of counseling is extremely important, especially post-COVID. Did y'all hear about all of the people who were laid off at Oracle? Imagine being laid off of your 6-figure job, 7-figure job, I know that they probably have money laid up, but the level of attachment that your identity has to a role and losing that after a certain period of time, especially if it's everything that you worked for. Counseling is extremely important. I took advantage of it and I help people with it. So let me bring it home. Again, your identity is shaped by the level you're living on. If you live in survival, you'll always feel like you're struggling. You'll always feel like, man, why can't I get to where I'm trying to get to? I've been successful over here, but there's something still missing. Something is still off. You'll keep showing up as who people say you should be, which means you'll keep looking to people to get your self-esteem. But when you elevate, when you participate, when you engage in your own healing, when you're looking at each of these levels and you're asking yourself, what's missing? Where's the gap? Where can I improve? When you're intentional about your healing process, then you start to identify as somebody with authority. And I'm not talking about a position, with authority in yourself. When you know, baby, you just can show up. You can just show up as you. You can just show up as you, powerful. You're clear minded, you're clear thinking. And if you're not clear thinking, you recognize when that thinking is off. You call somebody and say, here's what I'm thinking. Am I okay with this thought? Or is there something else? Thank you so much for the repost, Mystique. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you guys. All the TikTok love. I love it. That's when you get to show up as aligned. That's what self-actualization does. Now, only 10%, I'm going to keep driving that number home. Only 10% of the over 8 billion people on the planet have reached self-actualization. Think about all of the people you encounter each day. 9 out of 10 of the people are struggling, are not healed, which is why we see some of the behavior that we see. But when you get to the bottom of your own crazy, it'll give you compassion for other people's crazy. If you're on this live, you're ready to live at the self-actualization phase. You're ready to be at the top of the pyramid because you got to go back, y'all, and help all of the people who are not healed. You should be living a much more expansive life than you're living now. You should be having far more influence because you have what? The X factor. You have the X factor. Thank you. Somebody, Mystique says, your live deserves to be heard. This is good content. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Mystique, for being here. All right, so we want to make sure we're showing up as our whole selves. We want to be powerful. We want to be clear. We want to be aligned. So at this level, at the self-actualization level, you don't just change your life. This is when you change the level from which you live, and then you start to change other people's lives intentionally, not in the way of somebody over depending on you. And you've got to show up for people when they just want too much from you, when they're just too needy. So I want you to start asking yourself, y'all write these questions down. What level am I living from? What level am I living from? Somebody tell me in the chat, what level am I living from? Are you living from 1, your physiological needs? Are you living from level 2, need for safety? Level 3, which trips us all up, love and belonging? Level 4, esteem? Or level 5, self-actualization, you're healed, you got it. Where are you living from? What space or what level are you living from? What's driving your decisions? Are you surviving? Are you just trying to make it through the day? Are you waking up thinking about a nap? Or are you becoming? Are you waking up in the morning saying, what can I do today to be different? Are you waking up every morning saying, my heart and mind are open and I'm willing to see things differently? Tonight, today, tomorrow, as you guys move forward, I want you to start thinking about who you're unfolding to be. Because tonight, you're becoming something different. A return to and an unfolding of who you've always been. God created us to be powerful. Okay, Diane, what are you trying to say? I'm on level contingent upon the other. Help me understand what you're saying. Is one level dependent upon the other? Yes. Yes, because we have to be solid in each of these. Think about this. You can feel safe. It's going to be hard to feel safe from crime or safe from harm if you don't have a place to live. If that basic need is not met. If you're not feeling physically safe, even in your home, in your marriage, in a relationship, if there's no trust in a relationship, you don't feel physically safe. If you don't trust yourself, because there was a period when I said, these decisions just don't match who I think I am. I don't even trust me anymore. Is it possible to be at both levels at the same time? No, because that's what we said. We said you're trying to show up self-actualized, meaning intellectually you got it. You know what it's supposed to look like. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know you've been working on it, but perhaps you haven't gone deep enough to figure out what these are. Again, level 3, this love and belonging, this being accepted. And I'm not just talking about accepted by your family or friends, but sometimes this is being accepted by a whole system, by a whole network. Do they believe me? Do they trust me? If you're leading an organization, do they trust me? Do they believe in me? Do I belong here? These are good questions. Thank you so much. Diane also said, I didn't finish reading her statement. She said, because I can identify with a couple of the levels. Yes. And that's what we're going to be dealing with in our 3-day live. We're going to be going deeper into these levels and letting you know why. But we're going to help you break the stronghold, detach yourself from the old story. Because all of these thoughts we have, these are not our thoughts. We have the ability to take them captive and say, no more. I will not allow you to rule over my life anymore, whatever those negative thoughts are. Because we want to make sure that in those 63 days that those toxic thoughts become rooted, we can also replace those thoughts. We can also use 63 days to intentionally engage in more positive thinking, more positive behavior, looking and listening to what God is telling us. Who is he saying that I am? He said that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, perfectly designed for my assignment. If we can just sit in that. But sometimes in our humanity, it's helpful to understand how things work. A lot of the work that I do, the science of identity, is based on the work of Christian neuropsychologist, Dr. Caroline Leaf. So we'll be going further into her work over the 3 days. So if you haven't registered, go to deeperwomenleagueglobal.org/events, register for the 3-day live intensive, April 14th, 15th, and 16th. The title of it is Leverage What You Lost, Reclaiming the Woman Behind the Story. Y'all, we've got work to do. If you're on this live, you're trying to get up here to this 10%. Because we got to come back and get this 90%. There are a lot of people who are suffering from themselves, suffering because they're detached from who they really are, or they've become who other people or other entities have told them that they are. And it's our job to get them out of that and to the next level. But in order to do that, I need some more 10 percenters. Type in the chat if you type in the chat if you want to be up here in the 10%. Say, I want to be in the number. I want to be in the number. I want to be in the number. Y'all remember that song? I want to be in the number. Hey, Erica Billingsley. Erica, did you go over there and register yet? Make sure you go over to deeperwomenleagueglobal.org/events and register. Diana, I want to be in the number. Who else wants to be in the number? The number is 10%. Y'all are not going to forget this number. 10%. That's the number of people who are truly self-actualized on the planet. So if you have 9 friends, I'm just saying, 10%. I want to be in the number. All right, Mystique. I want to be in the number. Brigetta. I'm going to just say it twice until I get it right. I want to be in the number with exclamation points. Yes, I want to be in the number. So listen up. I'm so fascinated by this work because if you know me, you know that I grew up in church. I have a deep relationship with God. And God speaks to us in the language that we understand. That's what he's done with me with this work. He's taught me how to look at it in the natural and couple it what he's given us to do. He said, don't just be readers of the word, do the word. So we have to do the work. Even Jesus spoke in parables so that people would understand what he's saying. We have to speak the language of the crowd that we're speaking to. So once we get in here and we learn why this is over there and that's over there, you'll see the science behind it all. And then you'll start to be able to connect the dots and then break them where they need to be broken. Detach them where they need to be detached. Okay. So if you're feeling stuck, it's because you're trying to show up at one level and you haven't healed the other levels. So you're showing up in your heels, in your suits, in your ties. You're showing up fixed up, but you're on a shaky foundation. It's like you're walking in red bottoms with a broken heel. That's what we have to fix. That's the work that we're going to be doing next week. If you have not registered for this 3-day live intensive, 2 hours each night, just us going deeper, understanding who you are, because I know that God has given you a vision of something and you just can't put your finger on it. You just can't see, how can this person do that thing? When I started working with my business coach a few years ago and I laid out all of my programs for her, she was telling me how much money I could make. And I was like, ain't no way. Ain't no way I can make that much money. Because in my mind, I could not see how I could produce the same results that a huge, big old school district, a huge, big old entity, a whole system could produce. But those were my limiting beliefs. That's what I believed. But when somebody's sitting across from you and they're not coming with that same financial trauma, that same trauma of divorce or whatever, they can see things much differently from you, much more clearly than you can. That's what coaching is all about. It's me coming in, putting it on a different perspective, on a perspective that you might already have. I get to look around the corner. I get to see behind the curtain and understand that fear you're dealing with, he's just the little man behind the curtain in the whiz. It's an illusion. My desire is that everybody on this live and everybody that watches this on the replay, it is my desire that everybody lives to their full potential. Capacity and capability are not your problem. It's your identity. You're attached to the wrong story. And that's what I want to change. That's what I want for you. So tonight, you became aware. And awareness is the first step. Now it's time that we move from awareness to intentionality. Be intentional and go and follow me on all social media platforms as I do this work at Dr. Barbara Swinney. Subscribe at YouTube at Deeper with Dr. B. Or you can just put in Dr. Barbara Swinney. Google Dr. Barbara Swinney. I need y'all help. I need y'all to help me do this work. So we got to get healed at every level so we can all show up and be in this number. Go and register for the live event next week, the 14th, 15th, and 16th. You can register at deeperwomenleagueglobal.org/events. Okay. I'm over time as usual. We probably need to change that. I need to shift something in my identity so I can change, so I can get off of here on time. Thank you so much for coming in, Brigetta. Thank you so much, Raven, for showing up. Let me tell you something. Raven has been so supportive. I'm super excited. That's my cousin, y'all. Just thank you, Raven. Thank you. She's been sharing the stuff on Facebook. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Erica, for showing up. I'm super excited. Make sure you go over there and register. If you have not registered, deeperwomenleagueglobal.org/events. The link is also in my bio. Okay, Alexa, play Yellow by India Ari.
Yellow by India Ari.
And with that, we are closing. Oh, thank you, Miss Sims. Thank you. This was really good. That's what she said. Let's put her comment up there. We're ready. Get ready, Brigitte. Alexa, turn up to 4. You too, Mystique. Have a great night. We want to get in the number. Stay with me. Stay with me in the yellow. Stay in the yellow, guys. I get green with envy. Wonder where you could be. This ain't how it should be. But you know I'm a Georgia peach. Ain't your sunshine. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I want you to think about what level are you living from? Remember, you want to be in that 10%. Stay with me in the. Stay with me in the. Stay with me. Stay with me in the. Baby, stay with me in the. And then you shine your white. I get all pink inside. You know. Thank you. Bye-bye, TikTok. Purple. Because we are so royal and never will close. I never want to let go. Did you stay? Stay with me in the. Baby, stay with me in the. Stay with me in the.